Hi, Paul. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be a video analyzing employee attrition.
Fantastic. So we actually already have a video based on employee attrition, where we use our train and predict flow in Graphext in order to analyze whether people are leaving or staying in the company and the benefits of that. However, today what we're going to do is we're just going to do a more exploratory data analysis just by simply uploading the data set and then going straight about without having to get into the more technical aspects to show kind of what you can do using graphics without any lines of code and with barely any clicks of the button.
Exactly. So here we are. I'm starting off in my personal workspace. These are my projects. I'm going to jump over here to my shared workspace with Paul. So this is a project that we can both access and work on separately. So actually, before I enter the project, I just want to show you guys how we connected this data set. So it's actually connected with BigQuery. And of course, we have the option to upload a data set just by dragging and dropping, but we also have this option of integration. So you just click there, click on add integration. In this case, I clicked on BigQuery, signed in, and then you choose the file you want to upload.
So the main benefit of connecting Graphext to a database is the fact that then you have the option of refreshing the project as well with new data added. So for the example of Google Sheets, if you connect to Google Sheets and then you want to add in a few extra rows of data, changes to your data when you're working on that, then you can just press the refresh button. I don't know if you can go to, thank you.
Yep, there it is.
And that will update the project for you with that new data.
Exactly. So since we already have a project made here, we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it. So after connecting the data set with Graphext, after uploading it, this is exactly what you see. So we have some variables here, like whether or not the employee has left, how they rated on satisfaction, average hours, department, salary. Oops, I'm going to hide this, and things like that. So
kind of what we want to look for today is to find out why our employees in this data set are leaving the company.
Exactly. So we can already start exploring here. Here we have two options, one being the variable manager and one being the variable viewer. Paul, do you want to go ahead and explain the variable manager?
So the idea behind the variable managers is not that relevant in this data set because there's only about 10 variables, but maybe you've got 100 different variables and you want to reorder them so that you've got your priorities at the top, or pin a specific one so that it shows up in the left bar instead. So like, for example, we're working on looking at employee churn. We would pin that to the left and that would always be visible there for you. Another benefit to it is sometimes maybe your different variables are confusing to know exactly what they're talking about. You can add a description in there so that other users can go, okay, that random variable called variable 32 is about that specific thing.
Exactly. So it's great for organizing them, like Paul said, especially when you're working with multiple people in one project. So that was our variable manager, but here we also have the variable viewer, and this is great to do some first exploration of the project. So here we can already start to filter. Let's go with the obvious and click on people who have left the company. We can see now that this blue selection is this blue bar is representing my selection, which, like I said, is people who have left the company, and the gray bar here is the whole data set. We can also see up here in the top left corner that this represents 24% of our data, about 3,500. And let's start exploring some of these factors. What stands out to you, Paul?
So something that's interesting, this one, I would say that we want to see why people that are satisfied with the company are leaving.
Okay.
So
cross filter here.
And equally, I would say that people that have scored highly in their last evaluation, because they're the best, they're the ones that we want to keep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we immediately see, stands out to me, that the issue begins, if you look at years in the company, the issue begins there at 4 years. So what's happening in 4 years? We can see, based on salary, it stands out that the salary being low or medium are the people that are leaving. So I think that's pretty obvious, but it's nice to see that here, that the higher the salary, the more likelihood that they will stay in the company.
Yeah, and actually while we're here, sorry, I'm going to go ahead and save this as an insight. So I could say low salary, leaving. And what this is going to do is start to create kind of where we can document the insights that we're saving. And then from here, you can edit it if you would like to add a description, or you can also add charts and statistics, and then this can be exported and shared as a PDF. We'll go back to data.
So Graphext equally has different graphs that you can use. So this is with the variable viewer, but if we went to, maybe we go to compare.
Yeah, clear my selection. Let's jump into compare. Okay, should we compare?
If people have left the company or not, just by clicking on left.
So yeah, a lot of things are standing out, and the satisfaction level seems to be the main one. So people who aren't satisfied are leaving, which is a bit more obvious. You could have guessed that, but this is an interesting one. Number of projects. So it looks like that's an important factor to take into consideration. Also the monthly hours, how people rated on their last evaluation.
Great. And we equally have different types of graph there that you can choose in order to do a comparison. So you've got like the option of a box plot or a tabular view as well.
Yeah, these are cool, especially for people who are used to these types of views. It can be useful.
I would say I always use box plot. That is the easiest to understand.
Oh, interesting, because I'm used to this absolute one. This is my go-to.
Because it's the first one there, I'm guessing.
It is. That's why I'm used to it. It's the first one that pops up. Yeah. Cool. So let's jump over into plot. So plot also has a lot of cool views. My favorite's the heat map. So let's see. We could check, for example, something like what we saw before in the compare section, that hours is related to people leaving. So let's see how it relates to satisfaction level. So for those of you who aren't familiar, the lighter colored box represents more concentration and the darker one represents less. So we can see here, it's super obvious that people who are in the middle section of monthly hours are rating high on satisfaction. So they're not working too little and not working too high. And we can also see a big chunk of people who are working loads of hours and are super unsatisfied.
Good. Something that's quite cool here is you're equally able to make a selection in your data set with the variable viewer that's next to it, and that will then change the heat map as well, like make it smaller. So if we went and just selected the people that are most satisfied, for example, then that would then change the heat map. So now we're just looking at number of hours for the people that are the most satisfied.
Cool, super cool. And again, this was just first exploration. So all of this was done without even running a more advanced analysis. With Graphext, as you guys know, we have the option to click on this magic wand and we can run a more in-depth project. And I think this is where the next video starts off. So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and check that video out.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Ali.